map that they're super comfortable on, and on the other hand, Entropiq, they thrive here. We've seen it already just the other day in the initial couple of matches they had at IEM during the IEM Dallas qualifiers. So this is going to be tough. Nickelback already finding the opening kill. They deal with the initial man in that crossfire, and although the trade does come back from Shocks, he does overcommit a little bit. Despite the player being flashed as well, he goes down. Priest spots the jump across. The A commitment is coming in, and that's confirmation there as the bomb is spotted. But they're quite delayed and quite separated from each other, so it's given some hope here for these USPs to pick them away. Or pick them apart,
just taking fights. Lackey swings wide, gives his life up to Kriaz. Crad will be able to wrestle one back, but he's still got to get that bomb down. Plenty of time to rethink, to readjust in the 2-on-2 as Kriaz now starting to work his way in. Tagged down, dealt with through the box by Nickelback, leaves just Twist. They tap that bomb again. They tempt fate once more, and this time Twist not going to bite. Knows there's still a ton of time left on the clock. There's really no reason for him to be peeking in just yet. Crad still not confident. And instead throw that bomb over towards Nickelback, who will be able to get it down. Twist seeing that, looks for the charge. Tagged up now. Down on 45. He needs to isolate these fights. Does well for the first. Low on ammo, 7 HP, but he'll get the spam. Finds the connection through the box, finds the first round for his team, and that is a critical clutch from Twist.
You've got to say, though, Entropiq, it seems like maybe a bit of overconfidence. Initially, there were some mistakes as they approached the bomb site, deciding to just take those fights one by one, with lurkers still back, even, I think, in the back of mid at that point. So they weren't really fully prepared on that move in, and Finest have punished them, perhaps underestimating their opponents a small amount now, with how easy things did go for them on Vertigo. I think pretty quickly they're going to have a snap back to realization that Finest are still very capable players. Interesting purchase here. We get the P90 from Kreese. Don't see it too often, but if it was to be useful on any round, it would be one of these.
I like the idea here from Entropiq. Krad's trusted solo. He's just going to be trying cheeky with it. Rest of the team going to contact their way out A. It's going to be Shocks up close and personal. Takes the tag though, and Forrester takes full advantage. That's a free plant. Krad should and will go down to Kriaz's P90 in towards Dig. But the problem again is they've got to get this retake going. Twist looking to repeat his heroics of the pistol. Has found one. That buys his team the man advantage. And it buys an awkward afterplant as well for the likes of Nickelback, who knows there's presence. He's seen him towards long. Forrester deals with one, a clean headshot from Nickelback, and suddenly that advantage is swinging away from them. Pleasant trying to wrestle back control of the situation, has one. And a smoke to isolate Lackey makes things, again, just that little bit more awkward. Lackey lines up the defuse. Now Nickelback has to swing. He goes down, and it's all on Lackey through the smoke. They find the kill, but there isn't a kit in play. There isn't a kit in sight. And there's nothing more they can do. They'll hightail it. They'll manage to save the 2 rifles, but that is a huge miscalculation. They had the sight. They made the retake stick, and they just didn't have time to get those numbers punched into the bomb to defuse it.
I like the double meaning when you said there isn't a kit in sight. Not sure if you intended it.
We'll go with yeah.
Just like, yeah, I'll take credit for that one, I suppose. It's another force buy, though, back in return. Obviously, with the couple of saved weapons, they're able to afford it, at least in a decent one. Much better than you'd normally get coming in to try and get revenge on that CT side with only 1400 loss bonus. So there's still some hope with the M4 and the AK, but Pleasant and Kreese are going to need to step up big time. And Arquez, if he can get a couple tags in on the Scout, suddenly those other weapons become a lot more valuable, and they become much easier targets for the rifles as well. So you can see the potential within the buy that they have. Entropiq are taking their time. They know that a bit was saved over. They know that the buy around it is likely going to be there. So they're not pushing the issue early on. They're letting the very limited number of utility that Finest have just be ran down. And as you can see already, with still 1:20 or so, there's only a single smoke. And Forrester finds the spam in on Twist. So they've gone ahead and taken an opening kill without even needing to have vision of a single player.
Oh, Ancient, you are cruel. Kriaz at least able to get one in response, but it's leaving isolated fights. Pleasant has to brawl his way through it and does manage to find both. Elian now tagged up by the Scout. Whilst they're on that ramp, they're isolated, and Anarquez is going to deal with the first. Now tagged down low. They're trying to bait Pleasant into the swing, and he does go for it. Lucky left in the 1-on-2. Bomb still to be recovered as he will just about catch the timing, but the flick from Anarquez is good again. That Scout starting to sing for him. Lackey finds one, but does he expect the second player in towards long? It Shocks up close. One bullet will do it, and one to the skull is even better. Force buy on force buy, but it's the CT side again who come out on top. And without that bomb plant going down, it leaves Entropiq's economy in a very sticky situation. Really have to force here. They don't have any other choice. They weren't going to be buying in the next regardless.
I like this, keeping Entropiq on their toes after what was a first map that is probably allowed Entropiq to come into this game thinking that things were going to be easy, but it's already been proven that ain't the fact. So let's see what can be done in return. The buy here is obviously a lot weaker for Entropiq than what they had before. No rifles or anything, it's only pistols, and well, there's an opening kill on Plessen. He did a great job in that previous round, blessing the B bomb site with his presence, but unfortunately a bit over aggressive perhaps here in the opening moments with no backup.
Just felt a little overzealous there, hoping to farm up on the MP9. Not quite the case, and now it does leave some isolated fights on the board. Lackey swinging into mid again, just trying to sow the seeds of chaos. Actually just trying to bait away for Crad, who was thinking about pushing that scaffolding. Oh. Okay, Kriaz, a nasty little wallbang lineup. Brings things back to even, but once again, it's 1 and 2 in quick succession. Elian on the pre-fire has opened up the B-bomb site near enough single-handedly. And he may well have opened up A as well. They don't have to accelerate into this right now. They don't have to commit the bomb, but they're going to do it anyway. And Forrester, with a huge headshot, has surely secured their fate. He messes the plant up, and that nade's going to get 2. Surely it deals with 1, and now charging in, it shocks. He wants this clutch with every ounce of his being. He's managed to take the site, and that actually mitigates the flank that was coming in from Lackey. Now Entropiq will have to group. With 30 seconds left on the clock, Shocks tucks himself behind that cave box. His barrel will poke out here. He spots 1 on the transfer. The spray's awkward, but he gets 1 and not enough. Nickelback comes back in with the deagle to get the job done. Shocks heartbreakingly close to heroics, but it's Entropiq who come out again. And well, the force buy wars continue, and every time they continue in this way, the money gets a little bit worse for the team who's going to be losing them eventually.
I love it, but damn, Nickelback got a little bit fortunate there. Absolutely outlined by the M4 bullets as he swings in. 50 in health, somehow avoids them all and lands the deagle shot. It was a shaky transfer of the M4 spray, you've got to say. He knew that he was low, so he was hoping he just gets that one fortunate bullet. Didn't want to risk even being peaked and being pre-fired since he lost so much health in the first fight. Creeping up ramp right now, though. This is interesting from Brad. He's only got a Mach 10. They're not against much, sure, but it is a force buy back as we've seen, and well, we know it can be a threat. But Crad's going to get himself 1 kill, and off the back of that bailout, Forrester catches a player off guard over on A as well. Peak comes in, obviously with the presence having been seen elsewhere, was just trying to find a little bit of info, instead it's a bullet to the skull that he gets.
CT side, you can't blame them for trying something here, stacking up over towards that B site. May well yet be rewarded. They are trying to take dig control here, and Twist is thinking about pushing down this ramp. This is a really rough fight for Crad. They almost always lose it on the T side. Twist comes in with the gift. T side should start to realize now that that A site is open for the taking, though, as Forrester has just shifted all the way through. So the rotations, well, they're going to have to get a bit of a shift on here for the CT side, and I don't think they're too bothered by it. Kriaz has at least pushed into lane. He's got the idea that B's going to be open, but at this point, it's been a rough old battle of the force buys, and I think Entropiq may just about be able to win it out. Saving an MP9, a Mach 10, a Scout. It's not a bad little haul to be working with into the next round, and I think, yeah, Finest are going to have to resign themselves to it. Entropiq finally able to string together 2 rounds on this T side, and it is just going to be a complete decimation of the CT economy, so keeping a few weapons, a little bit of armor behind them as well is a really nice win, despite the round not quite falling in their favor.
Yeah, I like the idea of calling for the stack, though, over towards B. It gave them a good chance, obviously, if the hit went in that direction. If not, sure, they win out the force buy battle, but the chances were already looking pretty slim of recovering the round. At least this way they have a bit to recover. No, Kreese swings in. It's only an SMG, but still, only an SMG is a lot when you're stuck on most likely USPs. I think Anarquez was at least dropped the deagle over there from one of the other guys who survived. He didn't spend anything, and he only had 1900. When I seen the deagle pop up, I was like, did he just buy that? But thankfully, no, that was not the case. But yeah, as you can see, there's very little to work with. Maybe a few kills, that's going to be the goal for Finest here. But Entropiq, they should be taking a 4-2 lead. It's the next gun round. We really need to see Finest getting a resurgence in performance and hopefully getting things going in a way that they just never did back on map 1. Oh, that is just rough.
Oh, Ancient is cruel, man. Cracked through the smoke. It's the scout as well that goes down. Will at least be recoverable. Pleasant eager to get his hands on it. And Nickelback in an awkward fight. Very nearly takes the dink. Kriaz can't quite find the connection he's after, though. And again, at this point, it's more about damage than anything else. Forrester looking crispy once more, has dealt with the Deagle of Anarchez. That's the ace site taken. Twist. But he's got a Mac 10 in towards Donut. Could potentially do some damage as Lackey is starting to clear this one out. But Lackey is so aware of the possibility. Doesn't take his eyes off it until he's found the kill. They know where that scout was dropped. The Mac 10 will go and grab it. Fourth on the board, the lead at 2. The Force Buy will come in for Finest, but it's Entropiq who start to look at their own finances and laugh. This is what that Force Buy situation does to you, right? Entropiq get a couple on the board. They're in a fantastic position financially here, whereas Finest, they've had to invest every penny to get an okay buy. They're sacrificing utility. They haven't got that AWP available to them like you love to have on the CT side of Ancient. And as a result, as these early nades go out, they're already going to start to look like very slim pickings. 2 smokes, 2 flashes, all but remain for the CT side with 1:35 on the clock.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I was expecting maybe something in terms of an early play to try and use that little bit of utility they had to hopefully snatch up a kill to then sit back in a more passive stance with an advantage, hopefully, in the early stages. But we're not seeing a lot. It's allowing for Entropiq to take the control that they want in towards the alley. They haven't moved on mid yet because Finest did show some initial presence when they put their smoke down. But they've fully given it up. They've fallen back into passive positions. And again, Entropiq have the room to do pretty much whatever they want. Decent smoke in towards mid, bounces back towards Donut. That's going to keep it in the mind of Finest that this might be the mid presence being, the mid control rather, being taken. In the meantime, though, Entropiq are on the brink of working their way in towards B already.
This is the problem. They've not got any utility to challenge those smokes. There's nothing they can do.
Tried for the
other than
revenge.
Sit and wait. Spam timing very nearly good. Timing onto Lackey itself will be good for Anarchez. So the man advantage is there. As this bomb goes down, the spam through the smoke could be lethal. Not quite connecting, though, for Twist. Will be forced to rethink things. And, oh, Forrester again. He's been an absolute smoke criminal. So much damage found through them. Elian spots out at least one on the flank, and Krad has dealt with the second. The kills just keep on coming. And, well, it's just Kriaz. Make that absolutely nobody. It's a mop-up on the B site for Entropiq. And on what is normally an incredibly CT-sided map in Ancient, this is starting to look very worrying already. I know I tend to lean a little bit further towards it being CT-sided the most, but I mean, it's 5 rounds. It's almost a guaranteed 6th unless it's a miracle from Finest, and that is already a very solid T-half on Ancient.
Even if this was a 5-2 the other way around with Entropiq on the CT side, I'd still feel like they're in a pretty comfortable position just because of how map 1 went and how we expect this to go statistically for both teams. So, yeah, this is definitely not a good position to be in. Some pistols upgraded, that's it. One man able to pick up Kevlar, that's shocks. I'm expecting this to be a relatively clean round from Entropiq, and this is something they were never able to achieve back on map number 1 either. And that was to build up a solid economy. They've already done that right now, and with this round on top of it, if they do manage to drop maybe 1 player max, then they're going to be in a very, very comfortable position. Ooh,
oh,
decent
dink. But again, just not quite enough. There is more pistols here. The problem is they are dropping like flies. With just 2 remaining, make it 1 remaining, make it none remaining. Entropiq will mop up the remaining bodies without too much of a challenge. And again, no damage found, no kills taken away. So Entropiq, with all 5 rifles up, will come into this one. Well, with Scrooge McDuck kind of money, they are looking a little bit ridiculous here. Finest need to start putting a halt to this train. This round, you have to say, has to go their way. If it doesn't, then it really does feel like this whole thing is starting to slip away from them.
Definitely still within their grasp, but it needs to be taken now pretty much, and that was a wild play there from Twist. It took him a while to get the initial kill. It was a struggle. Tried then to take the fight through the smoke, and that backfires, allowing elsewhere for Shocks to also take a kill, though, so an advantage at least is going to be held onto for the moment, and it didn't last very long. Kreese continued the aggression in towards Ali. He does good damage, but considering Shocks is also on the brink of death, I feel like Entropiq are happy enough with this position that they found themselves in. Unfortunately, it looks like they might walk into the stacked bomb site. As I said, though, Anarchez begins to rotate away.
They have got a little bit of a read here, Finest. Entropiq have been hitting this A site heavy and repetitively. Problem is, Shox is 10 HP, and he's playing a really rough off angle up on top of the boxes. Missed shot from Anarkez. They've got no idea what's going in towards mid either, so as the mollies come in, the push denies Anarkez any kind of aggression. He's down on 22. The bomb will come through, the plant will connect, the nade will chip even further away at the AWP. You can see it in Anarkez's angle. He doesn't want any more to do with this round. He's looking at the money, he's looking at his health. Thinking, wow, I've actually got more money than I do HP at this point. I'm going to back away. Hope to save that all for a rainy day. It's the 7th round on the T side of Ancient for Entropiq. Starting to see why they went towards this one now, because they are just brimming with confidence after that victory on Vertigo. Just taking fights and winning them really is the story of the day at the minute.
Yeah, it backfired for them on the pistol round for sure when they seemed a bit overconfident and kind of gave away individual fights, but sometimes those pistols can be a little bit finicky, especially if you don't close the distance with the Glocks. Since the rifles have come out, they have looked solid. Are a bit of a hiccup, obviously, in the back and forth trade. But the economy, it's not really there for Finest. Unfortunately, Krees and Shox don't have quite enough to buy, and Arquez has Kevlar, so he could get himself the rifle if they want to go for it, and it looks like that is going to be the approach. Did he just drop? No, was it Twist who dropped the rifle, I think? There's an op there as well, an M4, so it's not a bad buy. We just have to see what Shox decides to go for. He'll probably go for an SMG to get the extra few nades.
Yeah, I think it's Anarkez who drops across. He saves the AWP, 3500. Yeah, he drops the drops the M4, grabs a little utility, drops some of that across as well. So it's not a bad buy by any means. The problem is, you know, you look over at Entropiq, and they've got a full buy with Forrester still on 15,000, and Nickelback not too far behind. They are just set, and it's going to take a lot of resilience from this Finest CT side to start breaking them down once again. This time a little bit of a different look from Entropiq. 2 players with the B lane control to start things off. 3 very passive in towards mid. We've seen Entropiq going for these mid-late round takes of mid a lot of late. They're looking to do the same again here, as for now they're just waiting out any opening aggression, just seeing if this CT side of Finest wants to go for that mid take, wants to go for that B lane take, and if they can find a free punishment anywhere on the map.
Yeah, one kind of big difference we've seen from Finest here in their approach to Ancient than what we got the last day when we were covering IEM Dallas is they're so passive. They don't fight for the alley at all. They're more than happy to just give up lane control. I've always said alley, but then I remember most people call it lane, right? Oh, the spam. Little bit of damage. Same thing, really. The lane's alleys here.
Same difference, but
yeah.
Key distinction to be made, and well, as they work their way past the lane in towards Dig, it's Twist again looking for that aggression down the ramp, but again, an instant punishment. And now with the smoke starting to lock out the site, it's 30 seconds left. If they can deny this bomb plant, it might be viable, but the spray just not quite connecting. In fact, Nickelback will chew on it to make sure his teammate gets that bomb down. So at least a kill found, even in the 4-on-4 now. Lackey actually still stuck in towards the pillar. Will be the second to fall to Kriaz. Nice little set there from the M4A1, and as the retake utility comes in, Elian will be locked away. In fact, all 3 will be locked away. It's going to be timings on these sprays, on these spam downs. Kriaz will be the first to fall. That bomb, very spammable on a map like Ancient, and you can see it already. Despite the low HP bars, just holding onto it. Anarkez now finds the AWP, the spam not quite connecting on the defuse, and Shox will go back for it. Wins the round, finds the kill. It's a 3rd on the board for Finest. They need so much more where that came from to make this CT side viable.
Yeah, it's a very scrappy one, and honestly, with the positions they had in that afterplant, I didn't expect Entropiq to get as much as they did out of it. Even just the 1 kill, it was very fortunate. They didn't have vision at all. They were just hoping to spam back on those tracers and catch the timings really on the crossover. Probably hoped that there wasn't enough smokes left as they were moving in for the retake as well, I presume, initially. Otherwise, they likely wouldn't have set up as they did. Aggression down the ramp, though. We are actually seeing the lane control coming in this time around. No one from Entropiq yet ready to push in, but they are already sending a couple players through mid so that they can split it. Meaning times are going to be tough now for sure. And unfortunately, they actually send the player deep out through B. Not clearing his close corner either, so Krad has a free kill. That's very surprising. Entropiq have played this default out in pretty much every single round with a player outside of those doors. Trees will only be able to get one once they finally push in from mid as well. So the trades go very effectively for Entropiq. They have a 4-on-3 with still well over a minute remaining, a ton of nades in their own pockets, and a very pressured Finest who are going to be trying to look for something back in their own favour, which Entropiq themselves will be ready to punish, as you can see.
Just a bit of hero syndrome there from Shox. He wanted to be the man to make the big play, just can't quite get the timing, doesn't clear his corners, he's punished for it. Nice little molly comes in from Twist though, and with 45 seconds left on the clock, they've got to disrespect it. Krad trying to make all the noise in the world just to bait some information away, does spot Twist out. Can't quite land the spray through the smoke, and that will again allow this bomb to go down. And I mean, Anarkez is nowhere near this. He's got two teammates contesting long control, and he's still in towards Donut. Twist, he finds a kill, and they want to go for this retake, but there's no support. Krad gets the freebie onto Plesson, and again, he's low HP. He'll go down, but Anarkez is still in mid. Still working his way into such a long flank. Alien might not expect it, and that may well be the gift that they need. He gets the first, and it's Nickelback. 1v2 charging out of Dig, gets one, and now the bomb continuing to tick away. Anarkez has got to retake the site once more. It's the no-scope. It's the connection, and it will be, by the skin on their teeth, a 4th round on the board for Finest.
Just such a late flank through that they really don't expect that opera to be there. Good work by Anarkez. He struggled big time so far throughout this series, so to get himself a bit of a clutch to get his team an important round, hopefully that's going to put some confidence back in him and allow them to really turn things around here. Because if they want to be happy with the CT side, or at least somewhat complacent with how it's gone, they do ideally want to bring it back up towards 8. And we're getting a bit of a pause. Did we see many pauses on that previous map? Forgetting. It's not a tactical, is it? I think we're on a technical. So it normally pops up how many technicals are, or how many tacticals are left. Yeah.
We had to have another one.
It was a quick one. Quicker than a tactical pause would have been.
We'll take it. We'll take what we can get. Entropiq, of course, continuing their spree of buys, although they are starting to run the bank a little low. Elian, with the repetitive AWP buy, has finally started to break his own finances down. Potentially, Finest can start to see a light at the end of this very dark tunnel. 8-7.5 would not be a bad result, considering how that early spree went so desperately against them. And as Entropiq want to work their way in towards mid, it's going to be Krad under pressure in the lane. Multiple bodies there to try and take that control away, and it is going to be given up to Twist. He's been relentless in this aggression down the ramp. But Entropiq showing no interest whatsoever. It's going to be a straight A-site hit, and it's going to be up to Shox in towards Donut to be the first prong to deny. Nickelback caught, dancing in and amongst the Donut. It's Shox who gets 2, and now those are 2 huge kills. The problem is the rotation has been red, and Krad will be able to grab 1, which keeps it even in the 3-on-3, and it actually opens up a potential route back over towards that B site. Meanwhile, Anarkez picking off at the edges has dealt with Forrester, but you can see Krad is calling it now. He's picked off the rotation kill. He starts to think that maybe B is open for the taking. And well, as they start to clear their angles in towards the lane, that suspicion should be confirmed. The problem is, every second they spend clearing it is a second where that rotation gets closer. Plesson, already working his way into short, will tuck deep in towards long and should hear this bomb before it starts to go down. Molotov to cut out one of his sight lines. 30 seconds left. Lackey spamming as the site is to be taken. But again, Plesson is just waiting. That molly will fade. There will be an opportunity for him. Spots Lackey on the cross. They know where he is, but they can't deal with him. Run and gun for Plesson as he gets a critical kill. And Lackey can't do anything about it either. A 5th round. Finest really starting to find their feet on the recovery.
Yeah, I'm liking what we're getting. A bit unfortunate Entropiq didn't realize that there was no one waiting for them on B. They spent a bit too much time creeping, hoping not to give it away. And instead they maybe could have found an open bomb site, or if they even just had one smoke to put down. Either way, Finest, they're looking much, much better. They've got everything they could ask for here. All of the nades, apart from on an Anarkez. But Entropiq aren't yet broken. They still have a solid buy. They'll have enough for one alongside the loss bonus, I believe, in this following round as well, if it is needed, which is looking a little bit more likely now, considering that opening pick has come in once again. It's an Anarkez who finds it up at the top of the scoreboard now, looking much, much better than what we got back on Vertigo. But unfortunately, they don't really hang on to the man advantage. And with the damage that was done on Plessin, with Anarchis having taken a small bit as well in his initial exchange, the 4-on-4 is a fairly favourable position for Entropiq to be in. But that's not going to last very long. Bit of a twist.
The damage is there. The puns are there, and they're almost worse. Twist down on 19, finds the kill. Problem is, again, there's so much damage on the board. Forrester taps away, didn't need the headshot, but he'll find it anyway. Levels things out, and next up, it's Anarchis on a plate. Has to retreat as the Molotov flushes him by, and you can see that just starting to split this CT defense are Entropiq. Forrester deals with the donut player, and now that A site wide open. Twist and Anarchis a long way from home, only just starting to make their rotations in. Lackey is deep in towards CT. He'll cut out any kind of rotation from that direction. Forrester the same from Donut, so a big call to be made here, in all honesty, for that CT side. They've got 5 rounds, but they've not got any money behind them. And if they throw these rifles away, if this one costs them everything, then it will be a dire end to this first half for the CT side, and you can see they know it. Anarchis deep over towards B to save the AWP. Twist a little more aggressive, saving out long, hoping maybe that somebody just wanders on by him and they can find a free kill. Problem is, Entropiq are not going to let sleeping dogs lie here. They want to try and find these exits. They want to try and take these last rifles away. They know they're buying anyway. Twist on low HP. Headshot angle's good for him, and they will be able to mop up here, Finest. It's an 8th round on the board. It's a guaranteed lead at the half for Entropiq. It doesn't come without cost. 4 players go down, 2 rifles saved by Finest to try and give them something to fight back with right at the death of this first half.
But I mean, 7 rounds was already a strong enough T-side, I think, for Entropiq to be happy with. Now they've confirmed at least that they have the lead at the halftime. Bit of security for if the pistol round goes south. It's a dire position, really, for Finest to be in, especially as this buy isn't perfect. Shox is taking a while to get out of spawn, eventually does buy up. I thought for a moment he might have timed out. But we're going to have more technical issues. Plessin drops the smoke a little bit deep in the corner there, unfortunately. Eventually escapes into it. Not before taking a ton of damage. It's not fully known by Entropiq, but either way, strong advantage for them to work with in the opening moments without even really having to try for it. As they again hold off on a fairly passive default, but they've got the full lane control. They're getting ready, it looks like, to push in towards middle. And with both of those Finest players fairly committed to this, or sorry, even just the one, the other one's back in cave, it is pretty much a certain kill. And there you go. It seemed like they were aware that there was someone still trapped in there.
Yeah, Plessin just trying to be a bit smart for his own good. He wanted to throw that smoke wide enough that he still had an angle to work with. Goes a little too far with that idea and ends up just throwing it in a position where it does no good for him. And again, Entropiq will start to queue up over towards this B site. It's the 2-man cave play. I like this from Twist. Gives Kriaz an opportunity on that MP9 just to bait him into the angle as here they come swinging in, but it's 1-2 quick kills. It's disassembled. And Anarchis, well, he's calling the same call he made last round, and I think Shox will agree with him. It has to be a save for the last. Can't afford to be throwing rifles at a 5-on-2 retake. It's just never going to happen. And Entropiq, well, they've got money. Alien can potentially afford to drop. Forrester the same, so I would not be surprised if we see a somewhat spirited hunt starting here. Already Shox taken out, dealt with, and it's Anarchis last up. He is tucked into a nice little corner here. It's going to make it difficult for this T-side to really flush him out. But now as he's spotted, he misses the shot. And that may well be his undoing. He's known his position, isolated, the nades raining in. They know just where to look for him, and Nickelback will find it. 9 on the board, all 5 rifles taken away. This last buy looking very rough around the edges. Entropiq look to post double digits on the T-side of Ancient, no less.
Damn. I mean, not entirely surprising based on how map 1 went and how Finest normally do on Ancient, but there was hope in the early stages. There was the back and forth. There was a few moments here where they actually had a streak of rounds going, which wasn't there on map number 1. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they've been able to hang on to that, and again, Entropiq are just back into their winning ways. Alien lands the timing shot through the mid-smoke there. I think he caught a slight glimpse before it fully bloomed. So a bit preemptive on the push, perhaps, from Shox, and same to be said for Anarchis. There's a late lurk back in spawn. He'll be angry about that one. That was the one rifle they had also. Well, the one they had at that point. They've now picked up the FAMAS from Shox's body in on mid, at least.
I mean, it's something. With a Deagle holding the A site solo for now, Plessen will need all the support he can get. The bomb is looking to head out onto the wider site of the two. Plessen playing in and around that Molotov. Nice headshot for the first and the second. Takes two with him to the grave, but it will be the grave to which he heads. Elian there for the response, and now Kriaz, the next line of defense. 50 seconds left on the clock. It's a nasty little angle into Donut. Plenty of potential to do damage, but the boosted angle from Nickelback might just be a little bit rattier. The Molotov somewhat gives away the play, and it's going to be up to Kriaz really to hold it down. Twist with only a 5-7 to work with needs something from his rifler, and there's nothing to be found. Crad with the smoke. Still 30 seconds left on the clock, so the time pressure not really an element. Taps the bomb, baits Twist out, knows he's going to have to charge on in, and there it is, 10-5 as we head to the half. Entropiq looking to get this one done quickly. 10-5 at the half. Entropiq looking to get this one done swiftly. Finest headed to the T side, the by far more difficult of the two for a team to really break open. And well, they're going to have to go fast. Already through mid, already into Donut, in fact, with the bomb on their backs. But it's Elian who opens up, and Nickelback there with a second in quick succession. Entropiq just looking to continue the success of the previous map. Anarkez will at least find one in response, and that does start to actually open up this A side just a little bit. It's a long rotation for Elian to come back, but he's done so cleanly. Another big headshot to keep his team in the ascendancy. 4-on-2 before he's plucked out of the sky. And now as that bomb looks to go down, it's all the team being lost around Kriaz. He's on the P250. He's been raid bossed into this round. The HEs continue to chip away at him, though. And now he's pincered in. He's stuck deep inside of this site. 3 angles of attack for the CT side. Nickelback out long, Crad out temple, and oh, Nickelback's going to catch a timing. Execution style. A freebie, an 11th. 5 rounds away. The CT side starts as it means to go on.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton to say. Elian hits a couple nice shots to kick it off. Lackey and Nickelback join in on the fun then on the retake and just pick away at Finest as they try and get that bomb down. 11-5, 6 in the difference. It should be extended to maybe 8. Depends on how this force buy goes, of course, because it is going to be coming right in from Finest. They got the bomb plant down, so they just want to go for it. They've got some rifles. They've got a scout there on an Arquez, Deagle for shocks to work with. It's an okay investment firepower-wise, but Entropiq themselves have the 3 M4s, a couple MP9s. They even have good nades behind it as well, so shouldn't struggle too much with how they've been playing so far throughout this game, but maybe what I've said right there has gone ahead and jinxed it.
You're really trying to make that Curse of the Caster work, aren't you?
Yeah, we need 3 maps. We only get the 1 game a day.
Get the legwork out of it. It is Forrester alone over on this A site. It is the MP9, but he's only able to get 1. Shocks on the Deagle spam will respond. So an even 4-on-4. 3 rifles and a scout available. Crad again just trying to be ratty on that MP9. It's a nice bait in. They swing for the MP9. The M4 gets the kills. And that's the man advantage now for this T side to make it 2 as Nickelback combines well. Elian swings in for 1 more. And again, these retakes are just looking clean for Entropiq. They know how to play this map. It's one they like to pick into of late. It's one they're clearly feeling comfortable on. And that retake goes off without a hitch. A 12th. The force buy dispatched of 3 rifles kept up and just 4 rounds away from making a clean 2-0 here in Entropiq.
No, it was a possibility with how the map pool came out for sure, but I still had higher hopes, I've got to say. As I'd mentioned before, I hadn't seen Twist play in quite a while. The last few times I've seen these guys play, and Arquez has looked really good, so I've been a bit surprised by the fact that he struggled so much to wake up into the series and only really got going at all here on this second map. But yeah, Entropiq are just in another level of form, I suppose, at the moment, as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, really, from them in general. It's stacking mid, not going to do anything, of course. They are grouping up, it's just not there. Instead, they're ready to walk out onto A, where I do believe Forrester at least should spot that from back in spawn. At least he would have if he stuck in his position. He's now gone ahead and rotated as well, so they've left A completely open. A little bit of wallbang damage, at least, on the lurker over on B, but in the meantime, this bomb should be getting planted without really too much trouble.
Lucky's seen it, but I don't know if he expects 2 players here. He'll find 1 Elian, but it's quickly traded. They now know what's up, they know what's going on, and Nickelback has dealt with the flank. Pleasant goes down, all 3 now nestled within the site, make it 2 as Lackey chimes in. Anarkez desperate for the refrag, tries to swing wide, but Forrester is there to back his teammate up, and again, I mean, they left this A site open, and the protocols are still solid enough for Entropiq that they just get back into it. Kriaz, he'll take out the low HP Lackey, opens up a couple more isolated 1v1s for himself, but with 35 seconds left, to commit to this A rotate would be a huge call. He's clearing out long. Wants to be sure that his flank is at least covered. Spray down will connect onto the second, but now low HP. Kriaz starts to try and work the site. He's got a hold towards Donut. He's heard the jump. It's all a bait. It's all a ruse. Crad takes his head clean off. 13 on the board. This time the force buy doesn't even yield a bomb plant. Well, they're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel here to get anything into even the next round. So it's going to have to be a pretty hefty eco. Handful of nades. Deagles available. Kriaz does go for the hero rifle, and they need something a little heroic out of him here.
Well, it looks like they're just going to rush A anyway, which might work out because the focus was over towards mid, more so with a 3-man B stack in the initial moments. I thought they might have been able to cover a bit more ground before those rotations got into position, but as you can see, not quite. They've done some damage at least. They forced Lackey back in towards Donut, but he's already called for assistance. The damage is just trickling away on them, and in the end, Shox is indeed only able to get that 1 kill on the Deagle. A fairly clean round. That was a hero rifle bought up at least, so it does somewhat limit their investment here with a weaker weapon likely going to be in the hands of Kreese. But they have the op, they have pretty much everything else they could ask for other than an abundance of nades. But they have a decent amount at least, and this is their last chance to get into this game once again.
This is it. Do or die time. Got the AWP, got the rifles, as you said. The utility limited. No warp available for the CT side just yet. They've opted not to go that route. Now, again, opens up a potential timing. This time, though, Forrester, having been caught a couple of times, is going to start with the utility early. Molotov down to buy him a little bit of breathing room, as it's actually a 2-man play into Donut. And Forrester, out on a limb, is caught by Twist. Clean headshot. This A site persistently bullied by Finest, and they're continuing to find purchase here. Twist, 2 big kills to open things up, make it a third as Crad goes down. Hellion will get 1, but he's lost all his teammates, all his support. And well, 1v3, an AWPer on an M4 being chased down from all directions. It is going to be at the very least a 6th round on the board for Finest. If they can keep 3 players up, even better. An opportunity to try and build something into this half, just to show some signs of life. Kriaz gets the finale. 6th round on the board. That A site, again, is looking consistently vulnerable for Entropiq. They've been able to scrap their way back into it the last couple of times, courtesy of a lack of utility and a lack of firepower. But when the full AKs come out, it does start to look a little ropey.
Yeah, I mean, it's been left open half of the time, especially early on in the round, and that's certainly been realised by Finest, so I wonder if Entropiq are going to switch that up, and indeed they are. They're going to make sure Alien's in position with his op if anyone tries to just poke out and find info, because they've been doing so without putting down utility. That is one thing, so they know that it's a punishable play via the op. Lackey gets the spam on Kreese, presuming that he's trying to work his way around that gap that is so often left. And it works perfectly to bait him in. An opening kill for Entropiq. Sure, they're on a slightly weaker buy here, but they've somewhat neutralized that disadvantage by taking such an early kill in their favor, but they've kind of given it away now. I did not expect the repeat from Lackey. It didn't seem necessary.
Just looking for a little too much again. And again, it's going to be this A site. They know where the weakness is. For now, it's Elian alone, anchoring this with the AWP. Will have support, but as he legs up the first man, that allows him to be charged down. The damage is there, sure, but the kill is not. Now it's onto Forrester, and it's a rough old spray. Rains in 1, the tag is converted on, but the second not quite found, and that Molotov, oh, it's missed. It's a little too deep. Crad goes through it. Denies the bomb with 30 seconds left, but he doesn't expect the man into the cave. It's all in the hands of Nickelback now. With 30 seconds left in the 1v2, he has got a molly, and that bomb is down. The problem is the timings, and I think he believes that they've gone out towards B. He thinks that because they've cut all sound, because they've cut all noise, they've had to rotate away, and instead it's going to be a free plant. It's a free A site. It's a free 1v2, and Nickelback, oh, he realizes it, but he's burnt so much time. He could have denied everything. That Molotov could have denied the bomb being retrieved. It could have been the round. Instead, he's got to try and weasel his way in through CT, for now uncovered. But that bomb slowly but surely is becoming his enemy here. Anarchez is tucked close brokey. Twist well placed in long to deal with it, and it's going to be the save. No other choice for Nickelback.
Oh, I was muted there apparently, but yeah, this hasn't been a great performance sure from Finest, but they're getting a little bit now in their favor. They have the ability to get a free round finally. Is this maybe even the first eco we've seen from Entropiq where they haven't decided to come in with some sort of a force buy or hero rifles we've seen as well? But they need this comeback, a near flawless one, if they don't want to have to play for an overtime, and then they need to come back in on overpass where I believe they've already lost out a couple of times in pretty pretty easy fashion, rather, I suppose is the best way to put it. Still have 1 AK for Nickelback, so I'm not going to count him out.
The problem is they've gone for the A stack, which, given form of late from Finest, you can very much understand, but this time the T side look to stretch their legs in towards the lane, look to try and take some pressure out to B. And for now, Crad is solo, a USP, as they are actually going to try and crunch this AWPer down in mid. There's 3 bodies here for Anarkez to deal with. It's a nice flick for the first, and nobody really in a position to capitalize on the trade. Man advantage, execute to follow. Nickelback is working his way into the scaffolding, but the timing of the flank just not quite going to be there. Entropiq will try every cheeky play in the book, but Anarkez has dealt with Elian in mid. The spray down finds 2 inside of the smoke, and Nickelback again. This time in an even worse scenario, is just left scrambling for pieces. Exit kills would be great. Damage which they can look to convert upon, but it's a rough old spray for Nickelback. Shox gets him down. All 5 kills go the way of Finest without a casualty on their end. And this starts to look more doable, you know. This one, it's going to be another half buy. The money just isn't there for Entropiq. And at 14-9, you start to think Finest might be able to worm their way back into this series.
Yeah, they'll only leave maybe, what, 3, perhaps 4 gun rounds, depending on how exactly it plays out money-wise, if they're able to get saves, etc. Twist decides to just run straight through the molly. That is not a bad pickup initially. But yeah, we're expecting them to take this round, hopefully, fairly cleanly as well. Nickelback is brought low in that fight there, but he gets 1 kill. The nade in return at least ensures that the trade is there for the follow-up as well, but I mean, a couple of kills back, an extra rifle even now in the possession of Entropiq in comparison to what they started the round with. So there's some hope here for them to potentially try and steal this one away, where they really have no right to do so.
Racky's going to walk right into Shox though, and that should open things up nicely for the T side. B site available for free. Forrester smoked off of short. His teammate Elian a long way from home, just starting to make his rotation in towards spawn, and you can see Forrester, he knows he's got to get something done here. He's tucked in. He's hoping to catch a man on the transfer, and indeed he will. Anarkez next, and the AWPer's missed his shot. Forrester looking to get it done with the half buy here for Entropiq, and it's a 1v2. Elian working his way up the ramp. There should be guns there as well. He's on the P250 for now. Shox not looking his way. It's a 2-tap. Clean as you like. 15-8. Entropiq, the half buy gets it done. The aggression into the lane is countered nicely by the CT side. And well, now they've got 7 opportunities. 7 golden chances to put this series to bed. Going to be up against the full buy regardless, but look at the utility that comes out now. Kitchen sink of a buy for Entropiq. When you win those kind of half buys out, you keep a couple rifles alive as well. It is just such a moneymaker. And we need a response. We need one quickly here from Finest, and the response is going to be fast control of the lane. And again, it's going to be Plesson this time, trying to work his way up that B ramp, trying to worm his way into Crad before he's spotted out, but the CT smoke keeps him passive.
Yeah, for now at least. I'm surprised Finest are so set on having so much presence in lane. It was the same in that previous round against weaker weapons when it didn't make much sense. Now I suppose I can understand that if they want to focus heavily on B, but Nickelback, he's been given that first kill, the peek in, not immediately followed up on. They do at least get the molly down without Nickelback attempting to escape, but it doesn't matter. He wanted to stand his ground and fight, and he's done a remarkable job doing so. The flash goes in, he tries to jump and hope the op misses the shot. It didn't work out in that fashion, unfortunately, and Shox has got a kill elsewhere to give some hope back to Finest right now, but it's a 2-on-3 that they have to recover if they want to keep themselves alive.
If Elian pushes far enough down the ramp here, he'll realize that bomb is available. The timing of it is going to be everything. Anarkez is now holding for this, but Elian instead merges through the smoke. And I don't think that AWPer is going to be wise to this trick whatsoever. Second man spotted. Anarkez is holding for this. He's looking for it, and he will connect the shot. That's now bomb recoverable, and it's a pincer in for Krad to deal with on 15 HP. He knows he's being caught from both sides, but they don't clear him. He gets the freebie, and Anarkes is left again to clutch up. 1v2 for the AWPer, and it's not going to happen. Entropiq will seal the deal 2-0.